John Devereux, 1st Baron Devereux, KG, was a close companion of Edward, the Black Prince, and an English peer during the reign of King Richard II. Birth and ancestry. John Devereux of Whitchurch Maund was the son of John Devereux of Man and his wife Margaret Barr. His father came of age in 1323, and fought at the Battle of Crecy. His great-grandfather was William Devereux through his first wife Alice Grandison, and this William was called to Parliament as Lord Devereux on 6 February 1299. Rising debt related to the terms of the Dictum of Kenilworth led Baron William Devereux to financial arrangements permitting the alienation of Lyons Hall Castle, the caput of the barony. His grandson, Stephen Devereux of Bodenham a Berghope, seized the castle by force in 1305 and brought suit for its return, but his plea was denied. As his grandfather was still alive, Stephen would never regain Lyons Hall in his lifetime, nor would he inherit the title upon William's death. His younger brother, John Devereux of Man and son, William Devereux of Bodenham, remained close throughout their lifetime, united in the desire to regain their lost patrimony. John Devereux of Whitchurch Maund would carry on this alliance with his cousin, William, and William's son, Walter Devereux of Bodenham. As John Devereux of Whitchurch Maund regained royal favour, he promoted the advancement of his cousin's grandson, Walter Devereux of Webley, at court. The ancestral arms of the Devereux family, and that of the Devereux of Bodenham were argent, a fessor and in chief 3 roundlet gules. To distinguish themselves, the Devereux family of Whitchurch Maund added a mulliet or career. A renowned soldier, he began his campaigns when he joined the expedition of Bertrand du Guesclin to assist Don Enrique of Trastamara against Pedro the Cruel, King of Castile. He was recalled in 1366 by the Prince of Wales, but joined Edward, the Black Prince, when he led an expedition to Spain in 1367 to restore the now deposed King Pedro of Castile, and John Devereux distinguished himself at the victorious Battle of Nájera in northern Castile on 3 April 1367. Prince Edward returned to Aquitaine, where he made himself unpopular with the nobility by levying taxes to pay for his Spanish expedition. John Devereux was fighting again beside him in Gascony when the province rose in revolt against the prince, and was present in September 1370 when Edward besieged the city of Limoges and massacred 3,000 inhabitants at its fall. He was appointed Seneschal of Limousin in 1369 70ths, and in 1372 Seneschal of Laine, Rochelle. After the Black Prince returned to England in 1371, John Devereux was taken prisoner when the English were defeated by Bertrand du Guesclin at the Battle of Chisay on 21 March 1372 at Poitou. In 1375 he was back campaigning in Brittany with the Duke of Brittany. The Duke later granted him 100 marks a year for life, based on instructions provided by the Black Prince on his deathbed. On 20 May 1377 John Devereux was granted 200 marks a year for life for his services in Spain and Guyenne. Edward's young son, Richard II, succeeded Edward III a year later, and John Devereux was selected for the council on 20 July 1377 to rule during Richard's minority. John Devereux was Sheriff of Herefordshire in 1376. He was appointed Constable of Leeds Castle in Kent, Captain of Calais, and Supervisor of the castles and fortalices in the parts of Calais and Guinness. John served as a commissioner to treat with the King of France on 20 May and 16 December 1381, 4 November 1383, 22 January 1385 6th, 26 November 1388, and 8 April 1390. John Devereux was a commissioner to treat with the Count of Flanders on 1 June and 4 November 1383, 26 November 1388, and 8 April 1390. From the 12th of March 1387 8th to 1392 he was Constable of Dover Castle and Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports, and from February 1387 8th until his death Steward of the King's household. Marriage. He married about 1377 Margaret de Vere, daughter of John de Vere, 7th Earl of Oxford, and Maud de Badlesmere, as her third husband. They had two children, John Devereux about 1378, and Joan Devereux about 1379. John Devereux had at least one illegitimate son before 1385, for whom he made in his will an allowance of 100 marks for his marriage. Margaret de Vere had been married previously to Henry, 3rd Baron Beaumont, who had died on the 25th of July 1369. She had married a second time to Sir Nicholas Louvain of Penshurst in Kent, who had died in 1375. She would survive John Devereux as well. Her widow's dower was assigned the 25th of February, 1393 quarters, and she died on the 15th of June 1398. Elevation to peerage and honours. John Devereux was created a knight bachelor before 1377. He was subsequently summoned to Parliament on the 28th of September, 1384 as Lord Devereux. Although his great-grandfather, William Devereux, had been summoned to Parliament as Lord Devereux in the 6th of February 1299. This is considered as a new creation, as none of the intervening generations between his death in 1314 and this creation in 1384 assumed the title or possessed the financial resources to support a barony. John Devereux would be further honoured on the 10th of September 1385 by his creation as a knight banneret and placement at the standard. He would be again honoured by his creation as a Knight of the Order of the Garter in April 1389. His arms are described as argent, a fessa, gules, in chief 3 torto, with muliet or his son, John Devereux. 2nd Baron Devereux died without heirs, and the title passed to his daughter Joan, 3rd Baroness Devereux and Baroness Fitzwalter. Upon her death the barony was absorbed into her children's title Baron Fitzwalter. Principal land holdings. He acquired for life licenses on the 24th of March, 1381 halves and the 11th of April 1382 for the priories of Frampton, Panfield, and Wells from the Abbey of St. Etienne at Caen, and the Priory of Newent from the Abbey of Cormay, paying yearly 246 L13s 4d to the Exchequer. In November 1385 he purchased Kilpeck Castle for the life of Elizabeth, wife of Robert, Earl of Hereford. He acquired the manor of Penhurst in Kent by right of his wife in 1387, and was granted permission to embattle it on the 21st of September 1392. In 1388, with the exile of Robert de Vere, 9th Earl of Oxford, and execution of Simon de Burley, Lyons Hall Castle and Manor was forfeited to the Crown. On the 9th of December 1390 John Devereux was granted Lyons Hall Castle and Manor with a reference to a previous agreement between Burley and Devereux. This castle had been held by the Devereux family until alienated at the death of William Devereux in 1314. Shortly after regaining Lyons Hall, John Devereux contracted on the 18th of February 1391 with a mason from Hereford to repair and improve it. He possessed at death Lyons Hall Castle, Dorstone Castle, and Whitechurch Mound in Herefordshire, Donnington in Berkshire, Penshurst in Kent, and Dinton in Bucks. Death. John Devereux died suddenly on the 22nd of February, 1392 thirds, and was buried in the Church of the Grey Friars in London. His will was dated June 1385 with codicil the 22nd of February, 1392 thirds, proved the 23rd of February 1392 thirds at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. He had directed that 40 marks be paid per mon sepulture, and was recorded as having one of the most stately funerals with provisions for tapers and torchbearers. His will directed that 6 tapers, in the form of a cross, be placed on his hearse, and that 6 men, clothed in white, bear 6 torches, and that each of the men should receive 11 pence for his pains, that every poor man at his burial to have 1 penny to pray for his soul, and for all Christian souls, to the Grey Friars, for his burial there, she marks. As soon as possible after his death, he ordered that 1,000 masses be said for his soul, and for the souls of his father and mother.